In the shady pine forest, sunlight streamed in through the gaps between the trees, and a light mist hung in the air. There was a girl named Taidy, whose eyes always sparkled, not with happiness, but with a thirst for the new, for something special, something extraordinary. Taidy walked absent-mindedly, her gaze searching for something interesting. Hidden beneath the roots of a large tree and thick green moss, a small glowing object was concealed. Taidy, whispering to herself, "What's here? That light." Beneath the large tree roots, she discovered a glass box containing stars. It wasn't very big, but the inside twinkled as if the night sky had been brought into her grasp. Taidy, voicing extreme excitement, "Oh, this light!" Laughing excitedly, "It's brighter than the stars in the sky!" Taidy clutched the glass box to her chest. The light from the box reflected on her face, making her look beautiful yet slightly tense. She turned and hurried out of the forest, ignoring everything else around her. "I got it! My thing!" Fusion instantly overwhelmed Taidy. She carefully carried the glass box back home as if it were her second heart. She had gotten what she wanted, but she didn't know that it was the first key to the present she would build for herself. Taidy's bedroom, once filled with toys and vibrant colors, now lay haphazardly piled up. Taidy lay on her bed, staring at a glass box on her bedside table, a dim light emanating from it. From that day on, Taidy's world changed. All her happiness and cheerfulness were confined within the transparent glass walls of the star-shaped box. "Taidy dear, come play with the dolls I bought you. Or would you like to go play with Lily?" "It's all right, Mom. Those toys, they're not as bright as this." Taidy's bedroom window was open. Her friend, Lily, cheerfully handed her a bouquet of colorful flowers. Taidy clutched the glass box tightly and turned away, showing a slight disgust at the disturbance. Lily, very cheerful, "Taidy, come play hide and seek. We missed you." Taidy, low, harsh voice, "Go away. You've dimmed my light." Lily walked away, disappointed. Taidy chose to ignore her friend's laughter, her mother's warmth, and even the morning sunlight. Taidy was carefully polishing the glass box with a cloth. The light from the box brightened again as she focused on it. But her room seemed dim and lonely compared to the vibrant world outside. She believed that the perfection she had achieved was already within this glass box. She began building a wall of self-satisfaction, and that was engraving her name onto the iron cage of solitude. Taidy was sitting and reading a fun, colorful storybook. The light from the glass box beside her gradually dimmed and became noticeably dimmer. Taidy looked up and gasped in surprise. "Where did it go? Where did the light go?" Something strange had happened. Every time Taidy was enjoying something else, like reading a storybook or eating delicious snacks, the light from the stars in the glass box would fade alarmingly. Taidy sighed deeply, strained. She hurriedly closed the storybook, slammed it down forcefully, and turned her gaze to the glass box instead. The moment she focused, the blinding light returned, obscuring a distorted sense of satisfaction on her face. "I will stay with this box forever. I will ignore everything else. They don't understand what true beauty is." She was beginning to learn that the brightest light could only be created when she focused on it, rejecting everything around her. That was the trade-off she willingly made.
Taidy, walking away from the most beautiful and butterfly-filled flower garden, finds herself gazing at the constant beauty in her hands, a stark contrast to the garden that seems dark in her eyes. Taidy chooses to confine herself within that contentment, unaware that choosing to limit her happiness to what she has is creating a lock from within.
One night, the quietest night yet, Tidy's bedroom was pitch black, with only the dim light from the glass box illuminating her face. As Tidy clutched the glass box tightly to her chest, she heard a whisper, a voice that didn't come from anyone's mouth, but from inside the box. The whispers from the box were represented by tiny particles of light slowly rising from the box into Tidy's ear. "Stay with me, Tidy. I am everything. Everything. The outside world is full of darkness, boredom, pain. Only I can give you perfection." Taidy confidently turned to face the glass box. Behind her was a distorted and terrifying shadow of the outside world. It showed how Taidy's mind was being manipulated. She was beginning to believe that the outside world was dangerous, something to escape. She hadn't just locked her body inside the room, she had locked her mind and her beliefs in her grasp. Taidy, voice growing stronger. "I'm not going anywhere. I'm safe here." Her obsession with what she had caused her to abandon all expectations of the wider world. She had created a prison of her mind that was difficult to see, difficult to touch, but even more difficult to destroy. Even though Taidy tried to hide, love and care still tried to find their way through the walls. Her old friend Lily tried again. Taidy sat carefully staring at the glass box. A gentle voice called from Lily at the window. Lily held a bright purple violet. "Taidy, I brought you violets. They're the most beautiful flowers in the garden." Taidy responded with apprehension and disgust. "Don't bring them. They have pollen. They'll dim my light." As Taidy forcefully pushed away her friend's concern, her hand struck the glass box resting on the windowsill. The box clattered softly, revealing a tiny crack accompanied by a faint flicker of light. Taidy, crying in surprise, "Ouch!" The moment she pushed away her friend's offer of help, Taidy felt a tiny, almost invisible crack, a crack in the glass box. Lily walked away, her face etched with sorrow. Taidy, staring desperately at the crack in the glass box, felt pain in her eyes. She had sacrificed the relationship to preserve the treasure she was so obsessed with. Little did she know, the crack in the glass was a crack in her own heart. Taidy watched the crack slowly widen. Panic kept her awake. That night, the bedroom was dimly lit. Taidy paced back and forth anxiously, her eyes fixed on the glass box. Suddenly, she tripped, and the glass box slipped from her grasp. She had made a mistake, her biggest mistake. Taidy screams, "No!" The glass box crashed to the floor, cracking and expanding. In a moment of panic, the brightest light ever shot through the crack. Taidy's eyes widened in shock. She peered into the box and saw something that shattered her entire world. "It's not a star. It's... What's in the box isn't a magical star from heaven, but just shards of glass, reflecting the light from her own eyes, filled with sorrow. Just shards of glass." The glass box, a repository of pride, passion, and loneliness, shattered into tiny pieces on the floor. The sparkling light vanished in an instant, leaving only lifeless shards of glass.
Taidy continued to sit amidst the wreckage, weeping uncontrollably, overwhelmed by her profound loss and despair. What have I done? I've lost everything.
The warm afternoon sunlight streamed in through the open window, touching Taidy's tearful face, giving her a warmth different from the light inside the glass box. In the emptiness that came with loss, this prison, Taidy felt something she had always denied, the warm sunlight filtering in, the birdsong brighter than any whisper.
Warmth. Taidy sat by the window, gazing blankly. A sad smile appeared on the corner of her mouth, the smile of someone who had just been freed from bondage, despite the pain of loss. She hadn't lost a star. She had simply lost the cage that had confined that light. The emptiness that arose had opened the way for light and sincerity from the outside world to take its place.
Taidy slowly got up. She began to pick up the scattered pieces of glass. Each piece of glass now reflected the sunlight in a variety of colors independently. Now, each piece of glass was no longer a confined star, but merely a part of the world she had just accepted. Beauty. It wasn't in this box. It was everywhere. I just never opened my heart to see it. Taidy was running out of the room towards the wide open door. Behind her was what had once been a prison, but now filled with light. The cages that had once surrounded her had now vanished. She finally understood that the obsession with what she had, the clinging to what she possessed, had created a prison without bars, without guards, with only the fear of loss and the satisfaction of being confined as chains. Taidy ran out into the open air where her friends were playing. She laughed brightly and hugged Lily. The evening sunlight streamed in warmly. Our obsession with what we have causes us to miss the boundless beauty of the outside world. We confine ourselves in our own reflection. True freedom comes from letting go and opening our hearts to the light of sincerity. The message is that being intoxicated by what one has, obsessed with what one possesses, is building a prison for oneself.